I'm seeing on YouTube it just says please stand by.
Let me see what it says on that.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen of triathlon, welcome to the Real Starkey live broadcast of the TRS Draft Preview Show. A lot of you are wondering what this team TRS is and what it is. It's a group of lunatics trying to get on my age group triathlon team. A couple things we're going for. First of all, this is going to be a very professional production. You just watched a very amateurish production of the Kona World Championships. I hope you enjoyed yourself, but how much can you enjoy an event that you're watching 1 month after it took place? This is live. The TRS draft hasn't happened yet. This is all happening in real time, and we care about bringing you great live coverage. I've got a couple tremendously talented individuals joining us on the program. When I really thought about who I wanted here with us to tell the story of Team TRS and the TRS draft, I thought about who are the most talented broadcasters in the business, and of course I thought of Jim Lubinsky, professional triathlete, podcaster, the self-proclaimed shock jock of triathlon. I also thought about Brett Blankner, Zen in the Art of Triathlon. Many of you have listened to some of his 5-hour podcasts. He's a great guy, somebody that helped me get started in the podcast business. And of course, Dark Mark is going to be with us to add commentary as well. So thank you for joining us. You know, the whole world is watching as this dream team begins to form. A lot of people are making comparisons to the 1992 USA men's basketball team featuring Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson. Some people are calling this the dream team of douchebags, and I think that's potentially a fair criticism. But our goal is to have a great time. So let me just run down for the people out there, talk about some of the sponsors of this team. Title sponsor, Hoob Wetsuits. Check them out at hoobdesign.com, hoobusa.com if you want to buy any of their stuff. Promo code Starkey20 will hook that up for you. Falco Bikes, the V. I mean, what would you do with a V if you had one in front of you? I would ride it. The Falco V is a fantastic new beam bike, and we're super excited to have them on board. Steep, deep discounts for team members. Torhans, great hydration for your bike. Quite frankly, the reason I hooked up with Torhans is because he's always liked my shtick. He's always thought this was funny, and I thought he's a good dude to get involved. And then Pain Cave, paincave.com, the famous @Igansky from Twitter, one of the funniest, best-looking guys on Twitter, is going to be our partner, and that's like virtual reality cycling. So it's winter, it's trainer season. Many of you will be very bored and trying to get in shape indoors. What are we looking for on the team? A number of things, really. Number one, speed and talent. We want people to end up on podiums. That gets us attention. That helps build my brand, helps me sell dozens of T-shirts if we're noticed. We're looking for people with a sense of humor. Could they become a frequent contributor to my podcast? Everybody can probably tell I'm a huge fan of the Howard Stern Show. Could there be a TRS whack pack? When somebody misbehaves at a race, they embarrass the team online, could we possibly bring them onto the show, make fun of them, call them out? So that's what we're talking about in terms of what we're looking for. Let's get started with some expert opinion and analysis. I've brought with us again Brett from Zen in the Art of Triathlon. You can check him out at zentriathlon.com. Brett is a triathlon coach, a famous podcaster, and a fantastic guy. You can follow him also on Twitter at @ZenTriathlon. Brett, I know you've put a lot of time and energy into researching these candidates. By the way, I love what you're wearing. Talk to us about your thoughts and maybe walk through some of these candidates and tell us who you think could go high in the draft.
Yeah, thanks to Real Starkey. First, I want to mention that it's an honor to be here, and it's good to hear, like you said earlier, that you like riding the V steep and deep, I think you said.
I did not say that.
Okay. Well, it's all arrow all the time. I'm here with my gluten sponsor, New Republic Beer. And do you want me to start going down through my list right now?
Yes,
Are we ready?
absolutely.
All
Absolutely.
right. We're going to hit it hard, hit it 10 deep. Okay, so I went through the list of draftees, and I came out with some exceptional standouts here. First, I noticed there's a lot of Michigan going on. I have no idea why. But our first candidate, Jonathan Kazak, Kazak
I
something.
think I think you nailed it. I think
Yeah,
that's exactly it.
yeah. Okay, so he's way into Michigan, and apparently he's on the only 12,000-foot pass in Michigan. But with his abs showing live at the moment on that mountaintop, and I thought that took a lot of guts to get that photo taken, and also a lot of guts. And it seems to me like he seems to have a lot of emotional baggage. So he's a
What do you mean
strong
by that emotional baggage? What is he? You think he has personal problems?
lots. Yes, yes, very very well packaged up in his package. And then we move on to Mike Schultz, who I just have to give a shout out for helping me discover this Angela Durazo for the first time in my entire life. And I got to say, one of the reasons I was late today was I was busy researching her. And I said research is wow, that's something else. And then Rob Thwaites something. He looks like a really strong candidate because of his Photoshop skills, and I know that's really important in today's day and age. Because with Photoshop, you can make anything happen. And then,
That's true. Let's talk about a couple of these. I'll give you some additional insight. You
yeah,
talked about Mike Schultz. Quite frankly, he's on my shit list because he never filled out the Excel spreadsheet that I demanded. So he's already not turned in some homework. As far as Rob Thwaites is concerned, yeah, he was a male model, which is very, very exciting. Did a Dolce and Gabbana show in Milan. Was the pinnacle of his career. He also made the cover of a gay men's magazine called DNA. It's a men's magazine in Australia. I believe many of our friends, members of Team Piss, are subscribers to that magazine, and so this is fantastic. He's a great guy, and it looks like he's going to continue to do some modeling, and perhaps even a little bit of acting. And so could be great publicity for the team, Brett. Great publicity for the team.
yeah, I think that the Photoshop skills are going to come in handy. He's an amazingly, amazingly handsome man, and knows it, which you need to know your tool set. And then we have Vince Hancock, who is a strong contender with cock already being in his name.
Yep.
And also in his resume, he lists out that he's a crisis communicator of some sort for a Fortune 500. And being that this is a crisis 24/7, I think he would be a strong addition to your team. And then this David Hansen guy, um, there's a running theme through a lot of your male applicants for this draft of doing things either to anger their wives or just to piss them off or just to see what they can get away with. And he was one of the strongest ones right up front, who even though his wife is a pro triathlete, he would rather spend his time on the race course where he's supposed to be supporting her, turned away from the race course and taking pictures of himself with miniature ponies. That's talent right there. That runs deep.
That
And
is talent. That is talent.
yeah, that is talent. Yeah, you're supposed to be there for somebody else, and not only you're taking pictures of yourself with wild creatures out there. John Bum
By the way,
says that.
let's go back to Vince Hancock. By the way,
Oh, Vince. Yeah, Vince.
uh, I have some additional information about him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, according to the rumor I heard, it may or may not be true, but according to the rumor is he has smoked pot exactly 4 times in his life, but one of those was with Willie Nelson.
Oh, that's like worth 100 times right there.
Yes. So, all right, move on to John Bem. Brett, give us your
John
thoughts
Bear,
on John.
he was the first athlete on the list that I encountered of draftees that actually seemed to have some bike talent. I thought that was interesting. It should make riding the Deep V happy. I like
Yes.
that, and I also like the phrase that he is really into deep penetration into the market. That was a strong skill set with his language skills. And moving down the list,
John Bem, by the way, let's just throw this out there. He ran track and field at Syracuse, 9:52 PR in the Ironman. So somebody that could potentially get on a podium for me.
right, right. He's a strong contender. Now I believe three. I mean, I am just betting on these three to make the team, and one of them is John Shug, like Suge Knight, John Sughart.
Yep.
Now, what I was really impressed with is I've seen a lot of offensive things on the internet, and that photo of him with that roadkill was about the most offensive thing I think I've ever seen. And it was so good that he even got a high quality, well-known person, DC Rainmaker, to comment on it that it was good as well. So I knew.
Why was it offensive, the roadkill, Brett? Do you have some? Has roadkill ever done anything to you?
Like our friend DC said, there was so much going on. There's so much going on in that photo all the time. He's next to the road. He's next to the raccoon, I believe it is. I don't know. It's hard to tell. It's kind of flat, and he's going shh, shh, like that, like don't disturb it. Even though I don't think there's really any danger of that, and the quality of the lighting, and there's so much going on. Everybody ought to go check that out. Madison Tustian, she gets strong points for both being female and hating clothes, which I find would make her very popular on the team.
That's true. We need more women applicants. My dream would be to have an equal number of slots for both men and women. This is not Ironman. We do not discriminate. I would love to have more female applicants, but unfortunately the numbers are low right now. But yes, Madison, she has an interesting talent, Brett. She can pee while swimming, which
oh, wow.
I've actually never been able to pull that off, but she can. So, I mean, really, that has to be strongly considered.
Yeah, I wonder if that drops your, swim time by a second per 100.
It may. Brett, who else do you have thoughts on? Anyone else?
Todd Smith, for living in Chicago, going all the way to New York City to beat the entire city of New York at a triathlon, and then not showing up to the award ceremony to go drink beer with friends. Very impressive. Todd Cassidy is one of my other very strong just shoe-ins for having. He's a firefighter, which makes him a paramedic. He's an EMS. All firefighters are. They're cross-trained, and he has 2 spleens. And for being selfish enough to have not donated one of those spleens yet, in spite of knowing about how much people need organs.
People, you can donate spleens. I knew kidneys and.
I don't know. It sounds like he should.
David Cassidy also. I'm very excited about him. He could go. He could be a very high draft pick. He's a documentary film producer, and it was actually nominated for a Primetime Emmy. So I like everything that he's about. Wrap up for me, Zen and the Art of Triathlon. Who do you think? If you have to pick one of these people, who's going to go number 1?
Oh, well, my other top pick is Heather Seeley, for getting in trouble for cursing at athletes for drafting, and also stopping to take shots while I believe on the run. That's the skill set that I believe this team is looking for.
Shots on the run during a race. That's very impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah.
All right, Brett, thank you for joining us. We're going to throw it back to you for some final thoughts later on, but for now I'm going to mute you. Joining us now, I'm going to unmute Leslie Lamacchia. Leslie, unmute yourself. Oh, here we go. The fuck?
Unmute!
Leslie, you have to unmute yourself. All right, fuck it. Dark Mark, I mean, how is this going right now? Talk to me. This is a total fucking disaster.
Better than I thought it would be going at this point.
I mean, how did Brett Blankner do you think? I mean, we've heard his podcasts. Some of them are over 5 hours long. How did you feel he did in a live broadcast?
Well, I'm glad he kept it under 5 hours. Oh, there we go.
I got
Leslie?
it back.
Leslie. Okay.
I'm
Let me.
live
Leslie has had.
with Mackenzie Madison. She's
Oh,
gonna get in
hello.
on the draft too. She agrees with my picks.
She does. Okay. Let me
Yeah.
first introduce Leslie Lamacchia for those that don't know her. Leslie is a professional triathlete, of course. An amazing, beautiful, talented woman. She's also a lawyer, so if anybody, says anything out of line here, she can attack them through the
Like
legal
you.
system.
Like you.
Do you feel that I might need legal help from time to time?
Possibly. I possibly have helped you, maybe.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
If that had happened, have you been paid at all for legal advice?
Sorry about the airplanes overhead.
That's okay. I just asked you if you had ever been paid by me for legal advice.
Say again?
Have you ever been paid by me for legal advice?
Oh no, I've never represented you. No. No.
All right. So Leslie, talk to us about who you feel maybe some of the best candidates are out there.
Sure. I think you had a really, really strong applicant pool. Pretty strong to some of the other comparable pools that have some teams. And I like my first round draft pick would be Sean Murnane.
Yes.
And I think he's a really strong candidate. He's a gentleman. I think this year when I finished Ironman Lake Placid, he brought me pizza and French fries and a Coke, and he was like my own personal waiter. So he's definitely my #1 pick.
I would love to have a personal waiter, so that sounds amazing. Do you feel that he would do that for me, or did he simply do that for you because you're a beautiful professional triathlete?
I think he'd probably do it for anyone on the team. Yeah.
All right.
Really
Okay.
do.
I agree with Sean. That's a good pick. Who else? Leslie?
Dave Hansen, hands down. I race with his wife Jenny, and Dave is Jenny's bitch a lot, and she puts up with a lot. And I think he definitely needs a free pass. I don't know if you follow him or her on Twitter, but man, they got some banter. So I like him. I think he'd be a really great representative to rock the cock. Because
Did you happen to see his? He rocks the cock fairly often. Did you happen to see his application for Ironman Texas?
Yes.
And what did he say on that application, Leslie?
From what I can recall, he was. Wait, I remember reading it, and it was days ago.
It said, I'll read it to you. I'll quote it. It said, "I am medically incapable." No, I'm sorry. His medical information for Ironman Texas says he has a detachable penis.
That's right. That's right. And he was like a gardener or something was his profession or something like. Yes, it's pretty funny.
Yep. Go to
So I look forward to cheering
therealstarkey.com.
for him this year at Ironman Texas.
Yes. Who else, Leslie? Talk to us some more about the other candidates.
Todd Smith, New York City Tri winner. Always got to keep the winners on the squad so we can be competitive. We mean the real Starkey squad can be competitive with some of those other squads out there.
Hey, you can say we if you'd like, Leslie. I mean, if you'd like to join us, I'm sure you could get drafted quite highly.
Yeah, I'm considering it. I mean, word's out now. I'm considering it.
We'll wait with bated breath. Talk to us about who else looks good in the draft, Leslie.
I like Tim O'Leary because in the event that you don't have a female attorney on your squad this year, I think it'd be wise to have another attorney on the squad just in case Starkey gets himself in trouble. So I would think that the selection of another attorney on the squad would be a very wise choice.
Dark Mark, a lot of people saying we need an attorney on the team. Do you feel the team will be in trouble by the law frequently?
I think we need probably 3 or 4 on retainer.
Yeah, the more attorneys, the better. I do agree with you that Tim O'Leary would be a good pick.
Solid pick.
Yep. Who else, Leslie?
And then my last pick, and I'm not sure how to say his name, of the magazine cover boy, Rob T. Waits.
Yes.
Twats?
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Twats? I don't believe it's pronounced twats.
Rob Twats?
Twatties.
Twates.
So that might have been the best application. Very creative. I hope you can do a magazine cover like that for me.
Really? And tell us exactly what you liked about that, Leslie. How did you feel inside when you saw some of those photos?
Am I allowed to take the fifth?
Well, if you're an attorney, I don't know. Of course.
It was solid. I really enjoyed his application.
I feel that you're blushing right now, Leslie.
I'm
it's a
laughing.
possibility.
Sorry.
Well,
So I think I like my 5 picks. If they don't get on, I'm going to be very upset.
now, Leslie, if you were to decide to, make yourself eligible for the draft, and if you were selected, do you feel that there should be a policy about different team members dating one another? In other words, should I make a rule that you and Rob cannot be involved together romantically?
Yeah, no, I think that would be a bad idea.
Yes. Dark Mark, thoughts about whether or not we should allow members of the team to date one another?
Well, if they do, I think they should probably videotape it for Google Hangout.
Wow. Wow, Leslie Lamacchia is shocked. Shocked once again. Okay. Leslie,
I'm definitely not partaking then.
Thank you, Leslie, for joining us. You could find Leslie at leslielamacchia.com.
Yes, and I need more followers.
Yes, you could follow her at Leslie Lamacchia on Twitter. Leslie, anybody else you'd like to plug or say hello to before we let you go? Thank you for joining us, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm sorry I had some technical difficulties, but I want to say hi to Big Jim Lubinsky.
Big Jim, would you like to say
hello? How are you? Are you in Arizona right now?
Yes, Iron Man.
Yeah, I'll see you out there tomorrow.
Spectating.
Oh yeah, yeah, we'll be out there.
And
Swear.
we're hoping our girl Mackenzie Madison can get a podium spot.
Yes. All right, Leslie, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Boy, that was fantastic to have Leslie. She made it. A lot of technical difficulties. Next, I want to throw it over to our good friend from the West Coast, Jim Lubinsky. Jim is host of Jim and the Other Guy. He's a self-proclaimed shock jock of endurance sport. I listened to his show, the most recent show, and he was very clear on what the new agenda for the program is. No pro athlete interviews because they're boring, unless you come in there and you've got a coke addiction or something, unless you have wild stories like Tommy Lee that you're willing to discuss. He does not want you on the show, so I like the direction of that. Jim's a former pro ice hockey player. JimLubinsky.com, at Jim Lubinsky. He's also a coach. Jim, talk to us about your thoughts. I know you've done just a tremendous amount of research on all these gentlemen and ladies.
You know what, I did do a lot, and thanks for inviting me on the show, The Real Starkey. Really appreciate it. Hi to my cohorts online. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. Hey, this is great. You got a talented group of douchebags here, Starkey. You got some tough decisions ahead of you. You're going to have to really sit down and talk it out with Dark Mark over a couple of beverages, whether that be milk, beer, urine, whatever. But you know, you told me you're starting a team, and I said, how is this douche going to start a team? And I started thinking about it. And I said, if this guy starts a team that is in his image, we have a hockey team. Hence the jersey I got on here. Former pro ice hockey player turned triathlete. You know what? I'm excited about this team. I want to see your athletes rocking on the course. I'm going to lay down a body check and expect them to accept it and give me a knuckle sandwich back. So I'm really excited about this team. I did do a lot of research on these guys. It was tough to whittle it down. But let's face it, I've started a team in the past. I know what to look for. So if I can give you any advice here, there's 3 pillars that you should follow when selecting this team. So you're taking notes. All you people at home, listen, you got to make sure you have these pillars. When you're tuning it in, we're going to ramp up the entertainment value here. We got some good things going on in the background, so make sure you stay. We got our bar set up, so we might fill up some beverages there. But these 3 pillars, first of all, you got to look for loyalty. TRS, we need people that are loyal to the brand. They have to bleed white, whether that's creamy white or white milk. Either way, they got to rock the cock, and they got to rock it hard, right? They have to be willing to go that extra mile and be loyal to your program. The second thing they have to do is they have to stand out. These athletes have to be, and I'm not talking about stand out on the podium and wear their, NASCAR jersey on the podium, because all these other douches do that. What are these athletes doing on course to stand out and be different than all the other, banana smuggling, Speedo wearing losers out there? What are these guys doing different? So they have to stand.
Uh-oh, we lost Jim.
On the course, so the spectators, as well as Your team has to have somebody that likes to party, somebody that all your other team members look to for that entertainment value. If you have a party and everyone there is a bunch of, accountant guys who read books all day, who's going to want to come to that party? No. You know what? I want people to say, I want to go to that party because Jim is there and he's going to tell a stupid story about himself wearing a thong around the Vatican when he's 13 years old. Right? Some weird things. So you have to have people that are entertaining, that other teammates want to show up and be entertained by. So those are my choices. Now you have several athletes that fill these roles. I whittled them down to cover 4 or 5 athletes, right? So number one, your loyalty athlete, it's got to be Dave Double Spleen Cassidy. Now, let me get into why I think. And you said all the obvious things. The guy's got 2 spleens. He's a firefighter, blah, blah, blah. He said he's willing to help friends move. And let me tell you, you never help friends move. Whenever someone asks me to help them move, I say, fuck you, dude. I am not helping you move. Hire a mover. That's why they're in business, right? I'm not throwing my back out for some douche that I could be best friends with. I could not know. There are people asking all the time. I don't help him move. Dave's going to help you move. That's a loyal friend. When you put TRS on his chest, he is going to represent TRS till the day he dies. So he is my loyal pick for the team. You got to go. He's got to be a high draft pick. Now, when we talk about the standout athlete, who's going to stand out on course? And this is kind of tough because a lot of your draftees are vying for your attention, so they want to naturally stand out. Now, for this, I picked Chris the Bear Price, right? Because not only is he going to be rocking his Speedo, as he says, but he is a hairy, hairy man, and he doesn't shave like the typical triathlete. There's less hair on these courses than Kim Kardashian's vagina, right? But Chris the Bear Price isn't scared to rock that hair. And because of this, as he runs through an aid station, there's going to be 14-year-old girls saying, look at that hairy dude with the TRS jersey on. I want to be on that team. He's not scared to show the hair. So he has to be a high draft pick. In my mind, I would pick him for my team. I was hoping he'd come over, but you know what? Take him. Put your name on his chest, on his back. You're going to benefit from it. Now, when you look at people that like the party, the third pillar, who are your athletes going to show up at the bar to after the race and want to hear stories from? This has to be Matt, the Polish Prince Radowitz, a fellow Polak like myself. We all know Polacks like to drink. We all know we like our Dubra vodka, Stolichnaya, which is Russian, but he's not scared to show his jazz hands. When someone shows jazz hands on a picture, as he did on the application, you know that guy likes to party. He's not just in his running form doing the triathlete march. He's showing jazz hands in all these different pictures. He talked shit to Nerdo Potts. Nerdo Potts, the biggest nerd in the sport, Matt, the Polish Prince Radowitz, wasn't scared to go up to him and talk down to him. And I love him for that.
Jim, you're on fire right now.
Bud Light Lime is the third point, and we know real animals aren't afraid to admit the Bud Light Lime addiction. If I go to a Vegas party, a cabana party in Vegas, what's everybody drinking? Bud Light Lime. But they don't talk about it when they come out. The Polish Prince talks about it. You want to go to a party with this guy. So those are my 3 pillars. I have a couple of special mentions. TRS, so I have a couple extra seconds here. I want to just mention a couple people.
Jim, I just want to say, first of all, you've done a tremendous job. Look at the energy that Jim has brought. A tremendous pickup in the energy. You really were prepared. I love the passion of them. But yes, please continue with some more.
No one wants to hear dead ear. They don't want to hear voices, monotone voices. For all you future podcasters out there, let's talk. Call me, email me, either way. So the last one, one of my special mentions is Brad Schleck. Brad Schleck is a high school coach, and this is a pipeline. No, hold on a second with that. This is a pipeline for high school athletes coming into the team TRS. We want young talent coming on the team. Brad Schleck is the guy for this. He's the one that you're going to want to hit up. You're going to bring him on the team so he can bring in the future talent for the TRS team. So you got to treat this guy right. One other thing, Brian Corden used the term bag of dicks. Now, I haven't heard this term in years. He used huge points in one. Am I allowed to talk shit on one of your guys? Okay, so
absolutely.
there's one guy who has extremely large middle fingers on both hands. Did you notice how large Mike Espejo's middle fingers are? Very, very long middle fingers. Now, he claims to be a former pro ice hockey player, and a website called HockeyDB.com, which has every pro ice hockey player ever to play the game. And I looked up Mike Espejo. There's no pro ice hockey player, so we might have to have Mike prove himself in a one-on-one battle with contestants you're choosing, Starkey, where he drops the gloves and proves himself. He did play ice hockey at Western Connecticut State University, which is a club team in Connecticut. Where I looked at his stats, and a good tough player would have about 5 minutes of penalty minutes a game, because that's what I look at in stats. He had 2 minutes a game, so he's not a fighter. We need to pick up his edge a little bit. Do you agree?
Boy, these incredible accusations. According to Jim Lubinsky of JimLubinsky.com, Jim and the other guy, one of my potential candidates may have embellished on his resume. Now, so much pressure. Everybody wants to be on the team. I can understand why that might have happened. Dark Mark, you're drinking a beer right now. What are your thoughts? I mean, what should we do? Should we explore this further? I've never heard of this HockeyDB. What is that? HockeyDB.com? Is that
HockeyDB.com. Check it out. Hey, I'm not calling the guy a liar. I'm just saying I look into these things, knowing where it's at, and prove me wrong. Either way, whatever. I'm sure he's going to be a great addition to the team. He's a hockey player. So he's a cool guy. It's just I want to make sure everything's up front for the team. I want to make sure you know what you're getting, because we talked about a lot of good people today.
Yes, Dark Mark, I mean, what are your thoughts here? It's disconcerting information.
Yeah, these are some serious allegations. I think maybe we should potentially have Michael on at some point to refute these serious allegations.
It could be the first time we bring one of the TRS whack packers onto the podcast and really interview them about this. Okay. Well, let's throw it back to Jim. Jim, any other thoughts? I mean, I think you were on fire today. What energy? What a broadcaster! I mean, people should really listen to your podcast, Jim and the other guy.
Let me say, when I talk to them, when I speak to the microphone, it's like I make love to the microphone. I enjoy it. I think there's a lot of good comments made by my fellow panel of judges, if you will, or analysts, what may you call it, and there's a lot of reaction that I could have to those different comments, but let's just say, if you go by my pillars, you can't lose.
Yes. Well, we certainly appreciate the valuable analysis
Enough said.
And insight. Dark Mark, I believe you're going to be one of the gentlemen making these picks. You haven't made your final decisions yet, but obviously you've listened to what these analysts have had to say. You've probably also done your own research, and you have your own thoughts. Dark Mark, tell us what's going through your mind at this point.
Well, first of all, Jim, great job. Whatever you're on, please hook me up. Whoever you're getting it from. I don't know. This is really tough.
Maybe.
We've had almost 80 people now that have submitted something. Quite a few people.
Yes. We are up to over 80 submissions.
Yeah, and it's tough because I love them all like they're my own children at this point. So this is a real Sophie's choice for me. What's important to me is a lot of the people that were on board right away, the people that got in right off the bat.
Early.
These are people that they're most excited about it. They're the most into it. Leslie mentioned Sean Murnane. Sean Murnane, as you know, TRS, was a very important part of Operation IMLP 7th.
Very important.
Yep, he did a lot for us. He was one of the a few people that were in. He learned your true identity first, one of the few. And he actually tried to retrieve our stolen check from behind enemy lines. That carries a lot of weight.
Very, very courageous, very impressive. Laid his life on the line potentially to try to get that check back.
Of course, he was intercepted, but points count for that. He also tweeted from my account when I left my phone in trust with him, and
Have you forgiven him for that, Mark?
It took a lot of therapy, but I think we're over it at this point.
You're in therapy too?
He got some retweets on it, so I've learned to let that go. So Sean, you look pretty good. Bobby B, that son of a bitch. He's
Tremendous candidate.
he is. He's something else. He's police in New York City. Submission video. Well, we know what his ass looks like.
We do. We do.
Very, very funny. He fed his dog chocolate milk in the video, which I think is actually pretty dangerous. So points for putting your dog's life on the line for the video. That means a lot to us. I think having a cop on the dais will could help us down the line. Who else?
By the way, about Bobby, he said he saw in the news recently in his hometown a chick that he had sex with robbed 3 banks, and this is many years ago. But he's got a lot of exciting things happening.
Yeah, that's the story that needs to be told. Maybe
and an 1140 Ironman PR, kind of right in that upper third to middle of the pack, which we like. That's our sweet spot.
It is, because I'm 8 minutes faster than him, so suck it, Bobby B.
Struck out 19 times in a Little League game once. That's unimpressive. But.
Next is Eric Swanson. He was one of the first guys to get in. He had an extremely funny, extremely dry video. He was very self-effacing.
Yes.
What's interesting about Eric is that he's a pastor, and we're basically the Antichrist for triathlon. So I think it's funny that he was one of the first to come on board.
We definitely need his presence to keep us on the straight and narrow. You know, you talk about being Christ-like. Jesus spent time with prisoners and prostitutes, and Preach Swanson is definitely putting himself out there. So I think a fantastic candidate, great sense of humor. Also a volunteer firefighter. Back to Lubinsky's point about loyalty. He could potentially save our lives as well if we were to catch fire.
Yeah, and he actually said as part of his superpowers of becoming a pastor is he can condemn one soul to hell. Pretty sure we can use that at some point. So Eric Swanson, you're looking pretty good.
Yes.
Next I got is Iron Fan. Iron Fan actually met in Atlantic City when we did our happy hour back in end of June.
Okay. He was also at Lake Placid. He was
at Lake Placid. He's one of the few that actually got to hold Ray's giant check that was stolen. You can find a picture of him on the web holding the check. He wears a full luchador costume when he races.
Wow. Now, Iron Fan also stated that he was raced with a banana and a gorilla. I was that gorilla. I said, there's actually a chance that I was the gorilla that Iron Fan raced with at the same race where he raced with the banana. Possibly.
Yeah. Another interesting tidbit about Iron Fan. I don't know if this, I believe that he applied for Team Waddy Inc., our good friends at Team Waddy Inc., and I saw the list came out. He did not make that list. So, Dark Mark, are we just a second choice here for Iron Fan, or was he
it's still going to count against him. It's going in the cons category. But I will tell you, at the happy hour in Atlantic City, this was 2 days before the race, he brought pretty much all of Team Mac X with him. All these guys, most of these guys were racing and they weren't drinking. I was racing. I was drinking, of course. This guy proceeded to buy a round of shots for nobody. He downed 2 or 3 of them himself. That looks good in my book. Another slash in the pro column for him.
Yes.
Who else do I have? Not as
I wonder if that was a disqualifier. The reason he didn't get into Team Waddy Inc. was perhaps because
he took it too serious.
He'd been associated with us a little bit, perhaps. Maybe they were aware of dual applications. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Let's see. Next up, I got Katie P. She I think she was one of the few that got in with just a tweet.
She did.
Because she lists 2 qualifications, and they're very strong qualifications, and you know, it's hard to refute them. First is she's a human female who does triathlons. 2 things that I look for in a woman. And the second qualification is she drinks beer. Very, very valid points. Also, she has dreadlocks. So I think if I need weed, she's probably a good person to go to.
Let me say a few words about KP as well, because I was going to talk about her. If we did tweets of the week, I'd like to read 3 of her most recent tweets that I thought were fantastic. First one is, "Nobody listens to me, probably because I'm short." I like that. The second tweet, I'm going to quote this literally, is, quote, "What the fuck ever," end quote. That was a tweet. And then the third tweet that I enjoyed, it just says hashtag without the H. So a very talented Twitter comedian as well as being a human female that drinks beer. Dark Mark, anyone else standing out? Anything else you'd like to?
There's someone else that came on the board recently. Goes by the name Old Iron Hands on Twitter. Goes by Tony in real life. He's a pretty good candidate. Had a pretty funny video. You saw it. You thought so, right?
I like the video. Yep. He's one of the, I'd say, half dozen candidates that I've also previously been in arguments with on Twitter. I believe that he and I insulted each other months ago. He obviously smart enough to not take anything I take seriously. I have to realize I don't remember what it was about, but I think Jens Void. But yes, great video. Now, there's a problem with his candidacy, though, isn't there, Mark?
It is. He owes me $15 for a shirt that I bought for him in Kona. This weighs very heavily against him at this point. He's currently probably at the bottom of the pack.
Yep. Well, speaking of bottom of the pack, someone's on the bubble as far as I'm concerned. His name's Aaron Davidson. His collage that he put together in his application consisted of him at different positions at a Kentucky Fried Chicken at a KFC. Mark, did you see this one?
Wisconsin. Right? Is that what you said?
No, this is Aaron Davidson. He was at a KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. All of his photos were with a chicken, which I think he just wasn't necessarily getting the rock the cock. I think he was misinterpreting the whole thing. So that, I think, weighs against him, that maybe he just doesn't get it. However, I found out that he rode a camel with Maca in the desert and actually saw him bribe men to let him roll their quad. So that's a pretty interesting story that he saw Maca try to bribe some desert people, rode a camel together. I mean, that's exciting. Mark, should that positively impact him, potentially get him on the board?
We've all seen Maca probably do some things, he probably shouldn't be doing at some point. I think, that qualifies.
Okay. Brett, why don't you unmute yourself so you can give a few final words. Everybody, first of all, thank you, Zen and the Art of Triathlon, for joining us. You're wearing a time trial helmet. You're wearing sunglasses.
Yeah.
This is one of the worst outfits I've ever seen, coupled with a tie. Give us your final thoughts. How do you feel Jim Lubinsky performed? How did Dark Mark do? Have you had any other final closing remarks?
Yeah, it's all arrow all the time over here at the Zen Tri Cave. But I'd like to mention again this Matthew Radowitz. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Yeah, like our friend Jim mentioned earlier, it's amazing that all he's done in spite of being born Polish, and that's a lot of accomplishments out there, and for racing with jazz hands and a mustache at the same time. There's another draftee that we haven't mentioned yet, Kevin Rosenblum, who's Korean. It was very, very obvious with that name, and having the balls to say that the team owes him to be drafted just because he's a war vet and a Korean, which makes him, I believe, with his age, he's the youngest Korean war vet the world has ever seen.
Well, I have a pro-diversity policy. We need some more men of color on the team, so I'm glad to have at least one individual with a slight bit of diversity. It's a very white-bread, terrible sport. We got all a bunch of white men in the sport.
We've got that ethnic dentist. I don't want to nail her down, but she's
You
something.
don't want to nail the dentist, Mark? Is that what you said?
That came out wrong, but
That sounds very anti-dentite.
Yes. Mark, are you an anti-dentite?
I am not.
I'd also like to talk about Jason P. just coming right out and saying that he hates most triathletes.
Yes.
Yeah, the cop who yelled at his dog to drink white milk, that was very impressive. And there was one athlete, I can't recall his name, who says that he takes pride in making fun of his wife's or girlfriend's celiac disease, destined to not ever be his wife, I believe.
Yeah.
That's a very, very strong pro-gluten attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Brett, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Everyone, listen to Brett's podcast, particularly if you have very long drives. Some of them are very long. Brett, you did a 5-hour podcast after Ironman Texas last year. I mean,
On purpose.
strong endurance required by you and the listeners. All right, thank you, Brett. I really appreciate it. I'm muting you now. Jim Lubinsky, let's throw it over to you for some final comments. I mean, for me, I think you were the MVP of the show. You came with a lot of energy, a lot of enthusiasm. Give us your final remarks.
I'm no stranger to be MVP of these shows. I wish I was MVPs of a triathlon once in a while. But hey, quick question about that Macca camel ride. Did he finish the camel ride? Hey now. Okay. Like I said, we'll put a little flexion voice here. We'll get going with some final remarks. You got a lot of strong candidates. You got a lot of candidates who you might have to coach a little bit on how to best represent your brand, and we can go over an email on that. If you want a little advice on some of these people, like the guy who stole Brad Garrett's cabana. Can we make up a story with a little better celebrity, maybe even Ray Romano or Jerry Seinfeld, but Brad Garrett? Come on, he was in two things. Be actor. Let's make up somebody. Let's embellish a little bit on that actor side, or else just be a little more outgoing and steal Brad Pitt's cabana. You also have Dave the Hammer Hansen, or Nick Jones. What's his name? Nick Jonas Hansen, whatever. But his whole blog was about his wife being a pro. Dave, I want to hear about you and your stories. I want to hear about your wife being a pro. Your tiny donkey was cool, but let's ride that tiny donkey. Let's do a little thing. Let's think outside the box on these things. So just coaching a little bit here. Just might have to coach some athletes a little bit, but a lot of strong candidates overall. I think your team is just going to be amazing. I'd like to get on, critique the team once we're 3-4 months in. We'll talk about it then. We'll see how these athletes who need a little help are progressing and how your high-level athletes are helping coach these other athletes.
Well, Jim,
I think you can do a little internal coaching, and it's really going to help.
Well, Jim, we hope that you will be sort of a board of directors member and help guide and shape the team and the everything that we're about. Bring a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and wisdom as both a hockey player and a professional triathlete. So thank you, Jim, for joining us, and have fun in Arizona. You'll be out at the race tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm going to try and find Leslie Lamacchia. We're going to have a couple drinks and have a good time out on the run course. So if you're out there, just hit me up and might have the beer helmet on, might not, might do some push-ups. Either way, let's have a good time out there. All you guys listening at home, it's been fun. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Jim. At Jim Lubinsky, jimlubinsky.com. Dark Mark, final thoughts.
Well, I just feel like we didn't. There's a lot of people in here that are qualified. Just want to throw a couple names in that I do appreciate. Aaron Webster, he's all over this shit. I think he might be our most enthusiastic submitter.
Very, very enthusiastic. Sometimes I felt like maybe he's trying a little bit too hard. If those don't know Webster, he tweets a lot, and he also is the one individual that purchased ad space on the podcast, which was actually very funny. That was good. I think it was like a purposely bad commercial, but I like him.
It was so bad, but
he's going to go in the first round.
Yeah. Let's see. All of the other women I failed to mention. You guys, you're good.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now, all the women are going in the first round. We need all the women we can get. Some of these guys are the ones that need to be worried and step their games up. I want to talk about one more person that came on really just yesterday, snuck in right before the draft show. His name is the Butcher, and I said it before. I've said it a million times. You cannot get in with simply a tweet, but he did it. I'm going to see if I can share my screen at this point. I'm going to share my entire screen because he got in with just one photo. Can you see this photo?
Pretty
Doc Mark?
graphic. Yeah, I was slack-jawed for a few minutes when I saw it.
I could not believe that he did that. So, I mean, that's a very, very impressive candidate. Now the question is, how the hell do I get out of this? I don't know how to get out of this now.
Why don't you explain it the best you can?
Well, I don't know. Well, that's about all I have. Anybody else have any final comment? Because I feel we're running out of steam. Thank you, listeners. Thank you to all the candidates. We're going to have a great team. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to rock the cock. We're not going to take ourselves seriously. And we're going to represent and have a great time. Dark Mark, final thoughts?
Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. Mark, by the way, are you a mustache, is that for Movember, or are you applying for some girls' swimming coaching jobs?
Well, it just so happens I'm doing both.
Excellent. All right, Jim Lubinsky, thank you. Brett, thank you, Coach Brett, and we will see you all very soon. Good day.